Hey y'all, Moosin here with your Season 1 Guardian PvP guide. Now, the WoW community is ramping up in excitement with anticipation of the War Within going live, with early access starting August 22nd, global access starting on August 26th, and Season 1 starting September 10th. So starting this guide out, we're first going to look at some early access information. Our stat priority, the tier set, gearing changes, enchants, gems, embellishments, and lastly, hero talents and their associated builds. Mind you, Blizzard is actively working on the beta and changing things quicker than most people can make videos, but as we get closer to Season 1, if there's any changes, I'll let you know. Also, be sure to stay till the end of the video where I'll elaborate on an easy way for you to gear up for Season 1, as well as how you can get your hands on a couple of WoW tokens and much more. Over the next several weeks, there will be a ton of information coming forward as we all enjoy this new chapter of WoW, so my focus is to get you the important information and set you on a solid path to begin the expansion. Speaking of which, Honor will be reset August 22nd and capped at 4,000 for the early access users before returning to 15,000 on August 26th for the global release. With the global release, we will see a new version of the Bloody Tokens, which will be earned from most world quests. Bloody Tokens will also now be the only War Mode currency, sharing a similar weekly cap like Conquest. Other than that, the two-tiered gearing system for Bloody Tokens remains the same. Rounding out this section, Conquest will return September 10th, and remember, it is no longer part of the Vault rewards. Lastly, the PvP vendor won't have gear to sell during this early access period. Onto stat priority, it will still be agility, versatility, mastery, haste, and lastly crit. Agility is going to increase all of your abilities, attack, and dodge. Verse will increase your damage and healing done, but more importantly, decrease damage taken. Mastery will play into your class mastery and increase your maximum health, healing received, as well as attack power. Haste affects your attack speed, spell speed, and resource regeneration, etc. And lastly, you have crit, which gives you your bonus effectiveness. Looking at the tier set now, it's not anything special and honestly boring, but simple to where any build is viable. So our two-piece as it stands, Thrash and Moonfire increase damage done and reduce damage taken by 1%, stacking 3 times. And the 4 set increases arcane damage you deal by 5% and bleed damage by 8%. Putting a bow on this section and switching to gearing, once again craft your 4-piece for PvP from the Conquest gear by using the Catalyst, which is returning. You will also find this go around that it will be providing us weekly charges that stack up to 8. And if you care, you can also now use it on weapons. Speaking of the 4 to craft that provide the set bonus, you're looking at crafting the shoulders, chest, hands, and pants. So in other words, do not craft the helm as it has the worst stat priority. Moving on to your general gearing, it will remain similar to Dragonflight in your option from green BOE crafted gear, honor gear from the PvP vendor, war mode gear, conquest gear, and lastly your epic crafted gear, which you would make with your conquest trophies. Speaking of the latter, they're now called heraldry, and can be purchased respectively for honor and conquest depending on the item. It also sounds like as long as you have the honor to purchase these specific items from the PvP vendor, you can continuously craft your stat appropriate gear without the bi-weekly time gating from what were sparked previously, but we will see. Just remember to follow the stat priority with the caveat of keeping your verse at 39% or under for Season 1 if possible. That way you can prioritize mastery in most of those other cases. Transitioning to enchants, gems, and embellishments, I want to first talk about sockets as it plays into gearing. To start, every jewelry piece can now hold 2 gems instead of 1, and to socket anything comes down to 2 items. Magnificent Jeweler setting, which is used on PvE gear, and Vicious Jeweler setting that can be used on PvP gear. The first of which you get from jewel crafters, and the latter coming from victory chests if you are lucky, or from the PvP vendor. You will find that they sell them for 9,750 honor and 2 vicious bloodstones, which also can be purchased from the vendor for honor. Since we are talking about sockets, we'll just carry on and look at the gems next, starting with Enduring Bloodstone, which is a unique equipped item with the other Algari diamonds. This gem gives you 181 primary stat and 5% damage reduction when CC'd. The rest of your gems should be either Masterful Onyx, giving you 176 mastery, or Versatile Onyx, which provides you 147 mastery and 49 versatility. Looking now at enchants, you have 2 solid choices for chest. I'd first recommend Crystalline Radiance, which increases your agility by 745, but there's also Storm Rider's agility that increases your agility by 520, while also increasing your speed by 250. I would go with the former as it will be more beneficial at higher stacks and carrying the flag, or the latter if you feel your kiting could use a little love at the lower stacks. Next up for pants, you have either the Defender's Armor Kit, which gives primary stat and armor, or Stormbound Armor Kit that gives you primary stat and stamina. I feel this choice is a bit of a toss-up, but I am currently leaning the latter myself. Onto our weapon enchant, we have another toss-up, which I'll be testing going into Season 1. We have on one hand, Stonebound Artistry, which grants us on proc 3,910 mastery for 12 seconds, or Authority of Air, which on proc gives us an Absorb Shield for just under 300,000. Up next, we have the Ring Enchants, Radiant Mastery, granting us 315 mastery, and Radiant Versatility, granting 315 versatility. For the rest of our gear, we are looking at Scout's March for boots, increasing our speed, Chant of Armored Speed for our bracers, and Chant of Burrowing Rapidity on our cloak. Finishing up this section, we have two embellishments that are practical to us that we are currently aware of, and the first is Capture Starlight, which at low health provides us a shield. The second is going to be Dusk Thread Lining, which provides us versatility above 80% health. Now, I know this is a lot, but just know if something does come up that is better, I will let you know. We have now made it to the part where I'm sure y'all are the most interested, and that's the hero talent builds. I would note here that this is the area we are sure to see more change, as the Chosen of Elune side has been overperforming in relation to the niche of Druid of the Claw. So although I'm still going to go over these, be aware that changes are likely to increase the allure of Druid of the Claw. Of these two, I still believe Chosen of Elune to be the easier build for playing Guardian, but I do see a lot of opportunity for Druid of the Claw in the higher MMR brackets. And of course, you will find a link to these two builds in the description below. Since in my previous videos we've already looked at the class as well as specialization tree changes, we are just going to focus on the hero builds here. So first, we're going to have Druid of the Claw. The primary ability is going to be Ravage here, which slashes through your target in a white arc, dealing a good amount of damage to your primary target and then additional damage to other enemies in front of you. Continuing down the middle here, that actually segues into Dreadful Wound. So Ravage also inflicts a bleed that causes damage over time and saps the victim's strength, reducing the damage that they deal to you. Next up, we have our first choice node. So I'm recommending Killing Strikes, where Ravage increases your agility by 8% and the armor granted by Ironfur by an additional 20%. You'll also see that your first Mangle after entering combat will make your next Maul become Ravage. After that, we have Aggravate Wounds. So every Maul, Raise, Mangle, Thrash, or Swipe you cast extends the duration of the Dreadful Wounds by 0.6 seconds up to 8 additional seconds. Then the last one in the middle is going to be Claw Rampage. So it's a passive where during Berserk, Mangle, Swipe, and Thrash have a 25% chance to make your next Maul become Ravage. Looking now on the left side of the nodes, we have Font of Strength. So your maximum energy and rage are increased by 20, as well as your Frenzied Regeneration is also increasing your maximum health by 10%. Below that, we have Wild Shape Mastery. So Ironfur and Frenzied Regeneration persist in cat form. Then while transforming from bear to cat, you retain 80% of your bear form armor and health for 6 seconds. Then for 6 seconds after entering bear form, you heal for 10% of the damage taken over 8 seconds. Another one of our choice nodes here, we're going to end up going with Empowered Shapeshifting. So Frenzied Regeneration can be cast in cat form for 40 energy, and bear form reduces magic damage that you take by 4%. And there's also Shred and Swipe damage is increased by 6%, as well as Mangle damage is increased by 15. Turning to the far right side of the tree, we're going to be looking at Bestial Strength. So Maul and Raise damage is increased by 20%. Pack's Endurance, Stampeding Roar's duration is increased by 25%. And our last choice node will be Strike for the Heart. So Shred, Swipe, Mangle's critical strike chance, and critical strike damage are increased by 10%. Mangle will also now heal you for 1% of your maximum health. Onto Elune's Chosen, the primary ability is going to be the passive Boundless Moonlight. So for us, we're looking at Lunar Beam. Now causes you to leech life equal to 10% of all damage dealt by enemies within the beam. Under that, we're going to have Lunar Insight, where Moonfire deals 8% additional damage. followed by atmospheric exposure, so enemies damaged by a lunar beam or fury of a loon take 6% increased damage from you for 6 seconds. Then first choice note, we're going to have astral insight, so Incarn, Guardian of Ursoc, increases the arcane damage from spells and abilities by 10% while active. Then the capstone technically for the Lunas chosen is the Eternal Moon. So for us, Lunar Beam increases mastery by an additional 10%, deals 30% increased damage, and lasts 3 seconds longer. Looking on the left side, we're going to have Moon Guardian, so free automatic boonfires from Galactic Guardian generate 5 additional rage. Lunar Amplification, so each non-arcane damaging ability you use increases the damage of your next arcane damaging ability by 3%, stacking up to 3 times. Next choice node that we're going to be going with is going to be Lunar Culling, so Thrash now deals arcane damage and its damage is increased by 12%. Looking to the right, we're going to have Glistening Fur, where Bear Form and Moonkin Form reduce arcane damage taken by 6% and all other magic damage taken by 3. Under that, we're going to have our next choice node, which is going to be Moon Dust, where enemies affected by Moonfire are slowed by 20%. Then lastly, we have Lunation, so your arcane abilities reduce the cooldown of Lunar Beam by 3 seconds. Well, there y'all have it, your very in-depth guide to Guardian Druid in Season 1 of The War Within. But wait, there is more, and as promised, if you wanted to get an early start gearing your Druid in lieu of the honor cap restriction of early release, just remember you can transfer honor now through your warband at 80% conversion, meaning while you're leveling some of your alts, you can quickly get your main sorted with honor gear when it comes available the 26th. Also, speaking of those alts, don't forget, each character in your account with which you reach level 80 increases the experience all your other characters receive by 5%, stacking up to 25. You throw war mode bonus XP on top of that, and you will be smooth sailing. But wait, there is even more, as Blizzard has 2 big Twitch drops starting on August 26th, the first of which being the Owl Watcher of the Huntress, which runs through September 26th. And only requires you to gift 2 subs to a participating WoW streamer. And the second being the old, expensive TCG mount, the Ghastly Charger, which runs through September 19th by just watching, you guessed it, a participating WoW streamer. And speaking of those, I'd love it if you would come join me on Twitch stream, because I am also giving away 2 WoW tokens myself on September 22nd to commemorate the success of this wonderful community and the release of The War Within. So if you've enjoyed this content and want to see more of it, go ahead and hit the like and subscribe button, because making these videos take a lot of time and effort. Also, go ahead and jump down into the comments and let me know what you think about the hero talents. Do they seem lackluster? Do you think one is going to perform better than the other? Other than that, it's been a pleasure, and I'll see you on the next one. Moosing out.